Have you ever shared something with a friend or family member, only to later regret it? Maybe you confided in someone, thinking you were just connecting. But then that information caused awkwardness, judgment, or even conflict down the line. It's a painful reality many of us face as we navigate our relationships over the years. We want to be open and close with the people we love. But sometimes, sharing too much, or sharing the wrong things, can actually create distance or make things harder than they need to be. We might feel pressure to disclose everything about our lives, especially as we get older, as if transparency is always the best policy. But what if I told you there are certain things, sensitive parts of your life, that you are absolutely entitled to keep private, things that, for the sake of your own peace of mind and the health of your relationships, are often better left unsaid to even your closest friends or family? It's not about being secretive or dishonest. It's about setting healthy boundaries and protecting your personal space and emotional well-being. In this video, we're going to look at 5 specific areas where keeping your information private might be the wisest choice you can make right now. These are secrets, if you will, that you never have to feel obligated to share with anyone, no matter how close you are. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you about the true strength that comes from knowing what to keep just for yourself. So, let's dive right into the first area where discretion can be your best friend, and that's your precise financial situation. Now, I'm not talking about hiding everything or being deceitful. Of course, if you have a spouse or partner, open communication about finances is usually essential within that partnership. But beyond that immediate circle, sharing the exact details of your savings, investments, pension amounts, or how much money you have put away can open a Pandora's box you simply don't need. Think about it. You've worked hard your whole life, made your choices, saved what you could, and now, hopefully, you're in a position where you feel reasonably comfortable, or at least managing. Your financial journey is deeply personal, shaped by countless decisions, sacrifices, and circumstances that no one else truly understands. When you disclose specific numbers, how much you inherited, the exact balance in your retirement account, the payout from selling a house, you invite unsolicited opinions, comparisons, and expectations. Suddenly, people might start seeing you differently. Some might think you have more than you do and might subtly or not so subtly ask for help, loans, or even gifts. This can put a tremendous strain on relationships, making every interaction feel transactional or tinged with obligation. It's incredibly difficult to say no to someone you care about. But your savings are there for your security, your future, and potentially for unexpected costs down the line. You shouldn't feel guilty for protecting that. On the other hand, if you disclose that things are tighter than people assumed, you might face pity or worry, which can also feel demeaning or burdensome. Friends might stop inviting you to do things they assume you can't afford, or family might start treating you differently. Your financial status, whether perceived as abundant or limited, can unfortunately become the lens through which some people view you, overshadowing your personality, your wisdom, and your value as a person. It's simply none of their business, in the kindest sense of the word. How do you navigate this? When asked direct questions about money, and they do come up, sometimes out of curiosity, sometimes from genuine concern, and sometimes, sadly, with an agenda, you can be polite but firm. Phrases like, "We're comfortable, thank you for asking," or "We're managing just fine," are perfectly adequate. You don't need to offer explanations, excuses, or details. If someone presses, you can gently say, "Oh, I prefer to keep my finances private," or even deflect with a question like, "How are things with you?" Remember, maintaining privacy around your money isn't about distrusting your loved ones. It's about preserving your autonomy and preventing potential complications that financial discussions can introduce into relationships. It allows you to give or help on your own terms, if and when you choose to, without it being an expectation based on perceived wealth. Your peace of mind regarding your finances is paramount, and keeping the specifics close to your chest is a powerful way to protect that peace. Now, moving from your financial health to your physical health. This is another area where sharing every single detail might not always serve you well. As we get older, it's natural for health topics to come up more often. We compare notes on aches and pains, share experiences with doctors or procedures, and offer each other support. And sharing some information, particularly with close confidants or family who are involved in your care or need to be aware for practical reasons, is absolutely fine and even necessary. But I'm talking about feeling the need to give a blow-by-blow account of every symptom, every diagnosis, every medication side effect to everyone you know. Why might this be something to reconsider firstly? Constant focus on ailments can easily become the primary topic of conversation, potentially defining you by your health issues rather than your vibrant self. You are more than your medical chart. You have interests, experiences, opinions, and a personality that deserves the spotlight. When every conversation starts or revolves around your latest doctor's visit or how you're feeling, it can inadvertently limit how others see you and interact with you. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you and others start to see you only through the lens of illness or decline. Secondly, oversharing health details can lead to a flood of unsolicited advice. Well-meaning though it often is, everyone suddenly becomes an expert, recommending remedies, supplements, or treatments they read about online or heard from a friend. While sometimes helpful suggestions might emerge, more often it's overwhelming, confusing, and can even conflict with your doctor's advice. You might feel pressured to try things you're not comfortable with, or have to constantly explain why you're choosing a certain path for your care. Your health journey, particularly managing chronic conditions or dealing with complex diagnoses, is a very personal collaboration between you and your healthcare providers. You are entitled to manage your health information and decide who needs to know what. Family members who are part of your support system, who might need to make decisions on your behalf if you're unable, or who live with you, certainly need relevant information. But your third cousin, the neighbor down the street, or even casual acquaintances don't need to know the specifics of your blood pressure medication, your digestive issues, or the details of your last colonoscopy. Think about the emotional toll too. Constantly rehashing your health problems can make you feel more unwell, focusing your energy on the negative aspects rather than on living your life to the fullest extent possible. It can also cause worry and stress for your loved ones, sometimes unnecessarily. It's okay to say, "I'm having a bit of a flare-up today," or "I'm dealing with a health issue, but I'm managing," without providing a detailed medical report. You can share that you had a doctor's appointment without listing every test result. You are allowed to maintain your dignity and privacy around your physical state. Your body is your own, and the intricate details of its workings, especially when things aren't working perfectly, are for you and your trusted medical team to manage. Choose wisely who you confide in about your health, focusing on those who offer genuine support, understanding, and practical help if needed, rather than feeling compelled to inform everyone you encounter. Protecting this information is about maintaining your sense of self, managing stress for both you and your loved ones, and keeping your health journey private and empowering, rather than public and potentially draining. Now that we've touched on the importance of discretion around your finances and health, let's move on to another area that can stir up a lot of unexpected emotions and complications if not handled with care. Moving on from the very personal topics of money and health, let's talk about something that is perhaps even more sensitive and potentially divisive: the specifics of your will and how you plan to distribute your assets after you're gone. This is a topic that can feel morbid or uncomfortable to discuss, but it's a crucial part of later life planning. And while having a will is essential for ensuring your wishes are carried out, sharing the details of who gets what, or even that you've made provisions, with friends or family prematurely or unnecessarily can lead to significant problems you won't be around to fix. Why keep your will a secret for starters? Your decisions about your estate are deeply personal and reflect your values, your relationships, and your intentions regarding your legacy. These decisions are yours alone to make, often in consultation with legal and financial advisors. When you disclose the specifics, who is getting a particular cherished item, how the money will be divided, if one person is receiving more or less than another, or even if someone is being left out, you invite judgment, hurt feelings, jealousy, and potential conflict among those you leave behind. Family dynamics can be incredibly complex, and discussions around inheritance have, sadly, been known to tear families apart. People might feel entitled to certain things, have expectations based on perceived fairness which rarely aligns perfectly among siblings or relatives, or feel slighted if your choices don't match their hopes. Disclosing your will creates an opportunity for people to question your decisions, lobby for changes, or express their dissatisfaction, which can cause immense stress and heartache for you in your final years. You might feel pressured to alter your plans to keep the peace, even if it goes against your true wishes. It's a burden you simply don't need. Furthermore, circumstances can change. Your financial situation might shift. Your relationships with beneficiaries might evolve, or you might acquire new assets or wish to include new people. A will isn't always set in stone until, well, it needs to be acted upon. Sharing details prematurely might lead to confusion or resentment if you later make amendments. The general consensus among legal professionals and those who have experienced the fallout is that the contents of your will are best kept confidential until they need to be executed. The people who might need to know are your executoress and perhaps your spouse, so they are aware of their responsibilities and can locate the document. Beyond that, there's no obligation to inform potential beneficiaries or other family members about who is getting what while you are still alive. How do you handle this if the topic comes up? You can say something like, "I've taken care of my affairs and have a will in place, so everything is sorted." Or, "My lawyer has the details." You can reassure your loved ones that you have planned for the future without revealing the specifics. This approach allows you to have peace of mind knowing your wishes are documented, while also protecting your relationships from the potential negative emotions and conflicts that discussing inheritance can provoke. It's about preserving harmony as much as possible among those you love, even after you're gone. By not introducing potential points of contention ahead of time, your final wishes are a private matter between you, your legal counsel, and ultimately, your executor when the time comes. Keeping the details confidential is a gift of peace to yourself now, and potentially a gift of reduced conflict to your family later. Moving on. Let's tackle another sensitive area, sharing negative opinions or judgments about other family members, or even friends, with a third party. This is something we might be tempted to do when we're upset, frustrated, or seeking validation for our feelings about someone else's behavior. It's easy to vent to a trusted confidant about how a certain relative always does this, or how a friend never that. But while it might feel good in the moment to let off steam, sharing negative judgments about others, especially within the family circle, is almost always a recipe for disaster. Why is this a secret best kept to yourself? The most significant risk is that what you share, even in confidence, can and often does get back to the person you were talking about. Think about the game of telephone. Information changes, gets distorted, and takes on a life of its own. Hearing that you've been critical of them from someone else can be incredibly hurtful and damaging to relationships. It erodes trust and creates a rift that can be very difficult, sometimes impossible, to repair. The person who heard your comment might feel betrayed, angry, and unwilling to be open or trusting with you in the future. Even if your comments don't get back to the person directly, sharing negative opinions with others can shape their perception of that person. You might inadvertently create or reinforce negative dynamics within the family or friend group. You're essentially asking the listener to take sides or influencing them to view the other person negatively based on your perspective, which is unfair to everyone involved. It also reflects poorly on you. Someone who constantly criticizes others, even in private, can start to be seen as a negative or untrustworthy person themselves. People might become wary of confiding in you, fearing that you will talk about them behind their back too. It creates an atmosphere of suspicion rather than connection. Of course, this doesn't mean you shouldn't process difficult emotions or seek support when someone's behavior has genuinely hurt you. It's okay to talk about how a situation made you feel. The difference lies in focusing on your own feelings and reactions rather than passing judgment on the other person's character or intentions. For example, instead of saying, "Sarah is so incredibly selfish because she did X," you could say, "When X happened, I felt really hurt and unappreciated." This focuses on your experience without labeling Sarah. Sometimes, the best confidant for negative feelings about someone isn't a mutual friend or family member, but a therapist, a counselor, or a journal. These avenues allow you to process your emotions in a safe space without potentially damaging relationships. If you have a grievance with someone, the most constructive, albeit often most difficult, approach is to address it directly with that person, calmly and respectfully, if possible and appropriate. But broadcasting your negative judgments about them to others, that's a secret best kept locked away. It protects your relationships, protects your own reputation, and ultimately contributes to a more positive and harmonious environment for everyone. Finally, let's consider the exact reasons behind some of your deeply personal life decisions. As we age, we often make significant changes selling the family home, moving to a new town, downsizing, choosing to stop driving, or starting a new hobby that takes up a lot of time. These decisions are often complex, multi-layered, and stem from a variety of personal factors, financial considerations, health needs, a desire for a different lifestyle, emotional attachments, or the lack thereof. When you announce such a decision to friends and family, you will naturally be met with questions. People are curious, and often they care and want to understand your choices. However, you are not required to lay bare every single reason, every doubt, every emotional conflict that led you to your final decision. Sharing the why behind a big life change can be another area where too much information causes unnecessary complications. Why keep the full, unvarnished explanation private? Just like with the other secrets, oversharing your motivations can invite unwelcome scrutiny, criticism, or attempts to talk you out of your decision. People might project their own fears, biases, or desires onto your situation. They might think they know what's best for you, or they might not understand your priorities because they are different from their own. For instance, if you decide to sell the family home filled with decades of memories, your reasons might be a mix of practical needs like maintenance becoming too much, financial planning, and a desire for a simpler life. But if you share all of that, one person might focus solely on the financial aspect and offer unsolicited investment advice. Another might dwell on the emotional loss of the family hub and make you feel guilty. And yet another might question if you're sure you're not making a mistake. You could end up feeling defensive, second-guessing yourself, or simply exhausted from trying to justify your well-considered choice to multiple people with different perspectives. Your decision, especially a major one, is the culmination of your own thoughtful process. You've weighed the pros and cons, considered your needs, and arrived at what you believe is the right path for you. You are allowed to own that decision without needing external validation or explaining every single facet of your reasoning. You can state the decision clearly. We've decided to sell the house and move to a smaller place. Or, I've decided it's time for me to stop driving. You can provide a simple, high-level reason if you wish, like, it's time for something smaller, or I'm looking forward to using public transport. But you don't have to detail the specific financial pressures, the mounting health concerns, the loneliness the big house now holds, or the nervousness you feel behind the wheel. Offering a simple explanation allows people to understand the change without giving them ammunition to challenge your deeper, more personal motivations. It maintains your autonomy and reinforces that you are capable of making important decisions for yourself. Your personal journey to that decision is just that, personal. You have the right to keep the intricate map of that journey private, sharing only the destination and perhaps a general sense of the path you took, without feeling obligated to reveal every landmark and detour along the way. So, we've talked about keeping your specific financial details private, maintaining discretion around the full scope of your health issues, keeping the specifics of your will confidential, refraining from sharing negative judgments about others, and not feeling obligated to explain every last reason behind your personal life decisions. The thread running through all of these points isn't about being cagey or distant. It's about recognizing the power of privacy and the importance of boundaries in maintaining healthy, respectful relationships, particularly as we get older. It's an act of self-care and self-respect. In a world where we are often encouraged to share everything online and off, choosing what to keep private is an assertion of your autonomy. It's acknowledging that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every detail needs to be disclosed. And your personal life, with all its complexities, challenges, and decisions, belongs fundamentally to you. Think about the peace of mind that comes from not having to manage other people's reactions to your money situation, or their worries about your health, or their opinions on your will, or their hurt feelings over a negative comment you made, or their resistance to your life choices. It frees up immense emotional energy. It allows your relationships to flourish based on shared interests, affection, and mutual support, rather than getting bogged down in sensitive, potentially conflict-ridden details that aren't anyone else's business. It's not about building walls. It's about building fences that define your personal space and protect your inner world. This doesn't mean you can't be vulnerable with a select, trusted few when you genuinely need support or advice. Choosing one or two people to confide in about a specific challenge is vastly different from broadcasting sensitive information widely. The key is conscious choice, not automatic disclosure. Embracing the power of privacy in these areas can actually strengthen your relationships in the long run. When you're not oversharing sensitive details, interactions become lighter, more positive, and focused on connection rather than potential conflict or discomfort. Your friends and family can appreciate you for who you are, not for the size of your bank account, the list of your ailments, the contents of your will, your opinions of others, or the detailed logic of your personal choices. It empowers you by keeping you in control of your own narrative and your own peace. It reminds you that you are a capable, independent individual with the right to manage your own life and information as you see fit. So, perhaps the surprising thing I mentioned at the beginning is this. The true strength in later life often comes not from how much you share, but from wisely choosing what to keep private. It's in the quiet confidence of knowing your own mind, managing your own affairs, and protecting your personal space. That boundary setting isn't selfish. It's essential for maintaining your well-being and your relationships on your own terms. I really hope this conversation has given you something to think about. It's not always easy to hold back, especially if you're used to being very open. But practicing this kind of discretion can be incredibly freeing. What are your thoughts on this? Have you ever regretted sharing something you later wished you'd kept private? Or have you found that setting boundaries around certain topics has improved your relationships or peace of mind? Please share your experiences and insights in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you and learn from your perspectives. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, please give it a like. It helps us know we're creating content that resonates with you. And if you haven't already, Consider subscribing to our channel for more videos designed to help you navigate life's journey with confidence and joy. We share tips and ideas on everything from health and well-being to relationships and personal growth, all tailored for our wonderful community. Remember, living your best life at every age is about making intentional choices that support your happiness and well-being. And sometimes, the most powerful choice you can make is deciding what pieces of your life are just for you. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to reading your comments and connecting with you in the next video.